What a game. What a game. And Scotland going 19-0 down. I think I said it before half-time. How'd you come back from that? And maybe that's me being scarred from years gone by. This is a completely different team. And I probably should have remembered that. But the feeling was that it could have been a 35, 40-pointer when we went down to 14 men. And then even when they went down to 14 men and we went 19-0 down.
You did get a bit negative, James, didn't you? When I got home yesterday evening and watched the game and it went down to 14 men, you were like, it's going to be a long day at the office. It's going to be a tough afternoon.
That's what I mean, Andrew. Scarred.
How wrong were you?
Very wrong. And I'm happy and I wanted to be wrong. And I'm glad I was wrong. So all that, and this is the thing, right? When you're on TV, Goodey, as you know, like you have to be yourself. And for me, I wear my emotion on my sleeve and in my voice, as in that's what I do. So I'd rather just say how I feel and what it is. And if I'm wrong, like I was yesterday, I'm happy to be wrong. I'm fully accepting of that. And I like the fact that I was wrong. But it's just a different Scotland team, isn't it? And I think you have to remember that.
And on that with it, Jim, so I'm so glad I didn't watch the game live because I would have had absolute egg on my face as well. I watched the game, we got home at about 7 o'clock last night, put the kids to bed and watched it afterwards because we were out for a family birthday. But had I have watched it live, I'd have tweeted when Gilchrist got sent off, you were 19-0 down, I'd have tweeted, this is going to be 50, keep it under 50, Jim. But because I wasn't watching it live, I obviously didn't tweet that. And thank God I didn't, because how good was Scotland coming back? Obviously, the red card to Mohamed Awas.
How's that?
I mean...
Literally, how's that? Shaking his head.
Ludicrous. Did you tell him, as he's jogged off, mate, what you on about, you mount?
I think he's done time more. He's from a rough place in France.
He has done time, yeah.
Yeah, I'm very fragile at the minute, so no, I didn't want to say that. But with what you said there, Goodey, that was why I said it, because the way that France scored their tries as well, how easy they scored them, was what made me think that. But you think back to the first two games, Scotland haven't played amazing in the first half, that game against Wales, and the second half they turn it on. Again, you go back to Finn Russell, the intercept pass to Ramos, and you're thinking, oh, we're not playing that well. We're quite narrow in defence. We're getting done physically when they get close to the line. The intercept pass. And then you go into that second half and it's the Finn Russell show. It's not, I mean, obviously we scored in the first half as well with a short line to Hugh Jones, but
forward pass.
We grew into the game. Yeah, it was a forward pass. I went back and looked at it. I didn't pick that up pitch side. I went back and watched the highlights. Definitely a forward pass, but hey, if you want to go into the archives of some of the referees at the weekend, I don't want to, under my new guys, have rolled, but my goodness me, it was a forward pass. But look, you know, Grant Gilchrist should never have been red carded. He should have. I'm joking. He should have been red carded before anyone comes back at me and just cuts that bit.
Do you look at this game as a missed opportunity for Scotland?
I don't really think we deserve to win that game.
Really?
We had a line out with the new front row on 75 minutes, around halfway, and that was our opportunity. Unmarked throw. There was a miscommunication between Fraser Brown and Sam Skinner, and we went to throw at the front and we didn't nail it. And it was that I was just like, yeah, as in away in Paris, they're the small bits of detail. And there's a load of other stuff, but you get an opportunity on halfway. We've seen how good Scotland are in attack. Hugh Jones was on fire. Sione Tuipulotu, I thought, was brilliant again.
On that line out, Jim, and there's a couple, I'm just going to say it, I feel horrible. Finn's kick wasn't great, was it? Should have got deeper.
No.
Should have got deeper, which would have put France under more pressure and potentially made it an easier line out because they'd have had to stay down.
Well, you say easier line out, the front was unmarked. So I know what you mean.
Mate, why aren't you in the coaching booth as well? You could have done pitch side.
I'm tier 2 media.
And no, you're tier 1 now, mate. You are tier 1, my friend.
Yeah, potentially. But yeah, that was it, really. With the one opportunity that we had, just saw a bit of pressure on France. Like, again, the feeling, not necessarily watching it on TV, the feeling is they were feeling the pressure, which from a Scotland point of view is brilliant going into the World Cup and the games that we've got. We know that we've got Ireland next in the Six Nations, but Ireland, South Africa. But you could just feel there was a little bit of pressure on France for whatever reason. The weight of the championship, the fact that they're at home, the World Cup, I don't really know what it was, but all credit to Scotland. I know we didn't win. I'm not devastated by it. Am I pleased? Yeah, I'm pleased with the way that we played. And yeah, I think that second team versus fifth team. That was the difference on paper that actually materialised on the pitch. But loads of drama, and we can maybe go through that as well.
Well, I just want to look at Finn Russell's performance as well, because producer Rob has sent through some stats to me. Second most points in the comp, most try assists, most conversions, most carries in the comp, and the most offloads. Like, where he must be ranking, like rating as one of the best, if not the best 10 running around at the moment.
Yeah, he is. He is. And it wasn't just him. I thought Hugh Jones was outstanding as well, running off him, the lines. Finn's a class player. You know, people have used the term maverick before. I've been guilty of using the maverick term. And I look at some of his game and it is maverick-like. But he is, and he's speaking to people, he's educated himself and he works exceptionally hard off the field at looking at opportunities and how to manipulate defences. And that's why he's doing this in attack. So he spends, from what you hear, he spends hours sort of watching footage and, you know, he'll know Gael Fickou inside out. He'll know how the French defend because it's very similar to how a lot of the club teams defend in France as well. And he'll know how to unpick those so that he knows with his dancing feet. He showed the inside ball, didn't he? He made the break, which was, you know, you see Flamand just going back on the inside because he's pumped the ball to the outside, dummied inside, and he's gone straight through. He is world class, Finn Russell. There's no two ways about it. He is a phenomenal player, and the frustrating thing is I'm watching that, and I was desperate for Scotland to win, even though on my Guinness match point predictor I predicted France by 10, I think, in the end. But watching that game, it was enthralling. Scotland had so many opportunities, but that top tier of international rugby is about taking those one or two opportunities, isn't it? And the difference was, as Jim said, that line out that went awry, which could have gotten the win. Conversely, France go and score at the end off a bit of power from a similar line out position, don't they? But going back to Finn, he was class. Scotland, it's interesting, isn't it? Because you don't want that plucky loser kind of tag, but as the French said, that was the best Scotland team that's ever come across to Paris. And, you know, they are a team now. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, Ireland go up to Scotland next week. That's a tougher game for Ireland than England in the last one, the Grand Slam decided potentially for them. So you could see Scotland performing and putting Ireland under a lot of heat and potentially beating Ireland in a couple of weeks' time because of their performances and how this Scotland team are a proper team now. If, you know, obviously Gilchrist is going to get banned. I don't know who will come in the second row, Jim, for him. Obviously Johnny Gray will start, but, you know, you then look at depth. When their first team is out there, and you feel sorry for Hamish Watson because obviously he got hooked off, but they're a damn good team. And the unfortunate thing for Scotland is the madness of the World Cup draw when it was 3 years ago because they've got Ireland and South Africa. But if you draw in the World Cup now, they're, what are you in the world, 4th or 5th in the world right now? Yeah, so they're a proper team. And it's interesting, I saw Gregor's interview, and we've gone from Finn Russell to talking about the whole Scotland situation to now Gregor. Gregor's come out and said, well, Scotland haven't offered me a contract yet. They're in the best position they've ever been in Scotland, and how the SRU haven't extended his contract yet, I've got no idea because everything is looking great for Scotland moving forward in terms of the players, the way they're playing, the understanding, the relationships, everything that Gregor's created. I think it needs to continue, but watch this space as to what happens because the wheels might come off.
So a couple of things. Well, that's the thing. So on the Gregor thing, there's a couple of things I want to touch on there. The Gregor thing is you've seen teams before contract coaches on long deals and then they go to the World Cup and it's a disaster and then they end up having to pay them off the back of it. We know that there's a huge movement of coaches internationally after the World Cup. So I can kind of understand that. And we've gone through the archives of why we should keep Gregor, how I've changed my mind. I feel he is the right man. If it's not him, then who? Just on the Finn Russell question and the best 10 in the Six Nations, he absolutely is. If you go through who's playing at the minute,
Sexton's pretty good.
Yeah, but he's injured in terms of consistently. So he didn't play against Italy, did he? So we're going based on every single week. Faz is struggling a little bit off the boot. Jalibert off the bench looks very good, which means Intermac isn't maybe playing as well as he has done. Garbisi came back in place of Tommy Allen. So Dan Biggar gets dropped for Owen Williams. So in terms of is Finn Russell the best fly half in the Six Nations? Absolutely, hands down, not even close. But yeah, like it is one of them. You mentioned the second row, Gilchrist gets banned. Johnny Gray, I think, was brilliant when he came on. You've got Scott Cummins, who's back fit. You've got Sam Skinner, who can slip into that role. We have got players to come into them positions. Where we are really struggling is below that. It isn't like England. You look at Ireland's team that they fielded against Italy and potential players that they've got strength and depth-wise. France exactly the same. That is where we're struggling. We've got another level of players, but underneath that, there ain't much else. So, yeah, bring on Ireland. Here we go.
How are you guys feeling going into that Ireland game, Jim? Or is it a bit too early to preview it?
Well, I'm pretty nervous, aren't I?
Because Jim's tired.
Well, no, I'm nervous. There's a tattoo on the line, isn't there? With F-bomb Mac. You know, so I'm pretty nervous now. Like, especially when I'm tired, I'm vulnerable, I'm questioning whether Scotland can win the Triple Crown, and at the end of it all, I'll be getting a Big Mac tattoo with a K, thankfully. So, yeah, we've obviously got a down week, and we'll regroup around that game. But I am confident, as I've ever been. The fact that the game's at home, Ireland have got a few injuries, and there was chinks in the armoury against Italy. So I am confident, not really confident, but confident. But as we build towards that, there's a couple of weeks.
You need a spoon. You sound like you need a spoon, Jim.
A spoon for what? What kind of spoon?
Just a spoon, a hug, like a spoon in bed.
Oh, sorry. I'm not a spoon man. I'm not a spoon. No. It's more like one high, one low, and one on top. One. Yeah, I'm not a spoon man.
Pod.
Rugby pod.